Alright, just sit back and get ready to have the most fun you ever had with an electronic device. All right, everybody, welcome out to the Get On With It Sports Show. It is Wednesday, February the 22nd, 2024. Jersey Johnny coming at you. With me, as always, is none other than Mr. Harry Lug Nutz. Say hello, Harry Lug Nutz.
Hello. Is it? Did we lose a day? Did we gain a day?
It's Wednesday, February 21st.
21st.
Did I say 22nd?
You did.
I did.
That's okay.
No, in fact, I'm looking at it saying February 21st. Did I say 22nd? All right.
You did.
All
Jimmy?
Right. Well, you know, I bet you, you know what? Here's the thing. At some point in this world, it is February 22nd, although it's Thursday. But so I had it right kind of both sides, but not really.
No, you just made a mistake.
I made a mistake. All right. Covering my ass. It's February 21st, folks.
It's February something or other.
It's in there.
Yikes. The doldrums of sports right now.
Doldrums of sports right now. Not another time like this. All we have is we had the NBA All-Star Weekend. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. We haven't had a show since the Super Bowl, so we're gonna recap that briefly. But
riveting.
Got a couple of stats though, so it should be interesting. But how are you on this fine evening, sir?
I am good. You know, it's been a good day. Some of you may know I'm in a band called Log, and we have a new album out today. All of your well-known streaming platforms.
And what is the name of the album?
The album is called Dump Truck Sayonara.
Here is the album cover. We have the technology, right?
Yes, there it is. That is our version of Taylor Swift on the cover. Uh-huh. And there you go. It's I think it's pretty normal, right? It looks just, why would you have somebody with a helmet on and a lawnmower running over a
dump truck? Exactly.
But
Dump Truck Sayonara. Dump Truck
Sayonara.
And then
10 songs. We're really happy with the way this came out, and you can listen to it now on Spotify. Go to Log, Log with a period after the G. Don't forget the period, because there's more than one log now. When we started, there wasn't, but there is now. So LOG with the period on Spotify. You can find it there. The album is called Dump Truck Sayonara. Please take a listen. And, you know, if you are so kind enough, share it on your favorite social media platform, because that is how independent little bands like ours gain traction. One new fan at a time.
And anybody listening that isn't aware, the music you hear as our intro music every week, every time we do a show, period, is a Log song. So
it is indeed.
And who's singing that music too?
A very suave gentleman by the name of Harry Lug Nutz.
Harry Lug Nutz. He sounds like you.
Well, I think so. I think I sing with the British accent, though, for some reason, but no.
You have since the 80s, but that's another story.
I have, yes. No, I actually don't. I wish I did. No, that is my, unrock and roll, gravelly voice that you hear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Log period on Spotify. Don't forget the period. We will post it on the Facebook page. So you can you'll be able to click it, link there. If you're watching on the Facebook page here, once you finish watching the show, we don't want you to stop watching the show. Once you finish watching the show, you can actually scroll forward. Obviously, you've passed it, obviously, because we'll post it after the show, and you'll be able to click the link on it. If you're listening to this on on Spotify, stay in Spotify. Just search for LOG period. But if you're on any other platform, if you don't want to do that, you can go to the Facebook page, obviously, for Get On With It, and type in and just search for the post that we put up. Anyway,
and follow us on Instagram if you want to join and like us and follow us. It's at Lognoise, LOGNOISE on Instagram.
That is correct. And we do have another picture here. This is the band, right? This right here.
That's our latest glamour shot. We took that. It was our school picture for this year.
There you go.
So
well done. I like it.
Mm-hmm. It's all right.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty normal.
I think.
Yeah, I mean it's what every we. In case you're just watching and not seeing us, we just look like every other hipster cowboy band that's out there right now.
100%.
Yes.
So anyway, you can check that picture out. We'll put that up. Yeah, but go follow them on follow Log on Facebook and on Instagram as well. So
yep, we got it. We're gonna have some vinyl coming out. We got
albums in
some
there,
new
too.
merch coming out, and
Nice.
I don't know, lunch boxes, all sorts
Very
of
nice.
stuff.
And there's a rumor that a tour might be in the works. Where we don't know, but
Well, we're trying to, I don't know about a tour, but maybe a, kind of drop into the Northeast and play a couple shows, and then maybe drop into the West and do a couple shows. But we'll keep the best way to find out is to follow us on Instagram.
And if they
just saying, yep. I'm just saying,
follow on Instagram.
The few, the proud, the log followers on Instagram. At some point, I have to stop sending out faxes to a mailing list. I have to get people to actually go on Instagram. Nothing against Facebook, but very few people use it anymore, with the exception of my Aunt Tilly
and the three of us. So
I don't necessarily.
I use it enough. You use it to watch all the reels that I send you on Facebook Messenger. That's about all.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's true.
Anyway. But and if they do the Northeast, they might one of those dates might be in New Jersey. So we'll keep you posted. Specific place, but we'll keep you posted about that.
Oh, I'm sure it will be in New Jersey or New Jersey adjacent.
Well, it'll definitely be New Jersey adjacent, but I just mean particular.
Sorry, we'll be playing underneath the Pulaski Skyway.
Right. Exactly.
Somewhere in in an unincorporated part of Jersey City. Yes. So, under a spotlight.
Exactly. And speaking of music, got a belated Christmas gift the other day from a friend.
Oh, you did? That's really belated.
It's slightly, well, actually a couple weeks ago, but it was after the last show, so I couldn't show you there.
Did you give you an 8-track? Oh yeah,
right there.
It's a good book, good read. I already read it.
You already read it?
Yes, I saw him speak here at the Paramount Theater.
Yeah, I wanted to get to see him, but I wasn't able to that night. I was totally jammed up that
he was interviewed by Trey Parker of South Park, and it was a lot of fun. If there's one thing Geddy Lee knows how to do, it's sell merchandise.
This is true. This is very true.
By the way, I just watched. He has a show on. I think it's Paramount or one of those things you got to fish around to find. It's called Our Bass Player is Human. It's four episodes. Les Claypool, who no surprise there. Robert Trujillo from Metallica. Melissa Udefor, who was in, among other bands, the Smashing Pumpkins and Hole. And Chris Novoselic, who was in a small little band called Nirvana.
Small little band.
Yeah. Good show. Hopefully there's another season.
Exactly.
It's I doubt it. I mean, I doubt a bass player interviewing other bass players. It sounds it sort of sounds like offensive linemen interviewing other offensive linemen.
Pretty much. That would be a good equation there.
Yes.
Equating. So anyway, okay. It's very I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but you know what I mean. Anyway. All right, so before we jump into that brief Super Bowl recap, let's do our memes. Memes for the week. I think you'll like
memes. It's time for memes.
We're gonna within the next couple of shows, we're gonna have theme music for each of these segments. So
we are okay.
Yeah, and it's gonna be Harry going. It's time for memes. It's time for memes.
Me doing
just like that.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna be any different than what you just heard. It's just going to be able to be clicked on it. He doesn't actually have to do it live. That's the only difference.
There you go. Although I think live singing would be great.
It's not bad. We should do that too. So anyway. Okay, here's the first one. Here we go. It is fresh baby meat ravioli.
Yeah, I mean, that's I don't know what baby tastes like, but
I'm not sure. But it's $11.50 per kilogram.
It's delicious in soup.
It's delicious in soup, exactly.
They spelled delicious wrong? No.
No, that's right.
No, okay.
They got it right. They got it right. Yeah, delicious. Yeah, that's right.
Delicious.
Yeah,
fresh baby meat. There you go.
Fresh baby meat. And yeah, I mean, there's no way around that because even if you just put the emphasis on the first word, it's fresh baby meat ravioli. So either way, it's baby meat.
Yeah, they don't know what they're doing there. I wonder what it was supposed to be. I don't know.
I don't know, but
Next.
either way, these fresh baby meat raviolis are delicious in soup. So there you go. This one's keeping to the food.
More songs
theme.
about food. Yes,
keeping to the food theme. We have Painapple.
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 Yeah.
Right.
Good band name. Brought to you by Snapple. Painapple.
Painapple. Exactly. Drink it once and.
I mean, if you think about it, a pineapple really is a pain apple, especially before you get to the inside of it. I mean, it can be a very painful apple.
If you could stab somebody with a pineapple, that would definitely make it a pineapple.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Oh yeah, I think in tropical locations, there's at least 400 pineapple deaths a year.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Well, I think they may have surpassed coconut deaths.
I think so. Jimmy, get on the stats on that and find out.
That's right. Go to the CDC.
Exactly. Here's the next one. Well, it just says it for itself. Penis broken. Please use finger.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want to. It's like
it speaks for itself.
That's right. That's right.
It does.
If Jess was there, she would be, nodding her head.
Right. Exactly. I mean, it's not just specific for this particular use either. No. I mean, it's words to go by, right? I mean,
you got to be versatile. You
got to be versatile.
When you lose your fastball, you got to develop a changeup.
Exactly.
Exactly. I don't hit for power anywhere, but I know how to hit to the opposite field.
Exactly.
That's right.
All right. So next one on the hit parade here, we got very suspicious supermarket.
Yeah. Yeah. It's in fact, it was one of the most suspicious supermarkets in the world.
Mm-hmm.
What's more suspicious is the strange conglomeration of signage and awning and different type of roof things that are coming together. Right. The architect in me is very concerned about all of that.
That's right. Yeah. So it's kind of an avant-garde approach to awning.
I feel like there's going to be a large leak right there where everything comes together.
Just don't stand there.
It could be why it's suspicious. I mean,
I agree with you. I would have to concur.
So, yes.
There you go.
Try their baby meat ravioli though.
That's where the baby meat ravioli were for sale, and the penis is broken in that store. So I think they have pineapples as well.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the next one, we have fornication and drinking of alcohol is strictly prohibited. Management.
Well, I mean, if you get rid of one, you're probably going to get rid of the other.
I would say you probably have to. Well, it depends on the gender of the person you're speaking to.
Yeah, this looks like maybe we're at some sort of hotel or something, and I'm guessing this is an outdoor area. And the only reason why they would put a sign up of this nature is because someplace where they thought there's no chance anybody's going to drink and fuck here. Right. And sure enough, they must have had this happen more than once. So, hey, good for them.
They want to just cover their proverbial asses. No pun intended, of course.
Yeah. I love how people always put management, like they sign everything by management.
Right.
Like we know that the sign's not there from like one of the neighbors or somebody who just
a guest didn't put that up. Right.
So Karen did not put that there.
She didn't. Well, right.
Yeah. She might have got annoyed one night because she was trying to sleep for her big crafting convention, and lo and behold, people were drinking and fucking.
Exactly. I hate when that happens, or at least she hated when that happens.
Yeah. Look, I mean, vacations and hotels are where this happens. I would say it's the number one and number two things people do at hotels.
I agree. Yeah.
So there you go.
Definitely agree. And the last one here would be it's interesting. It's tight hole, no entry without permission. Slow.
Well, again,
and it's put up by Pure Resources apparently too.
Yeah, I mean, if you have to be told this, then I think you're just a rookie.
It's kind of self-explanatory. I mean, it kind of goes without saying, right?
Right. Yeah. And getting back to the penis is broken, use your fingers. I mean, this goes hand in hand. No pun intended.
No pun intended, of course.
Exactly. Pure Resources for all your lubrication needs. Pure Resources.
There you go.
Take it slow and only after they say yes.
And they have to give you permission before you commence. There we go.
Yeah.
And speaking of commencing,
it's better to ask for permission than beg for forgiveness.
Exactly. And speaking, that way. And speaking of permission, or speaking of,
Tight holes.
there you go. Any of that, really.
Okay.
Speaking of pretty much everything we just went over, I actually physically myself took this picture in ShopRite the other day.
Please don't tell me it's a tight hole. Cock soup.
Cock soup.
Well, there you go.
There you go. We'll post that on the page as well.
That's right.
Cock soup. Yeah.
There's got to be a podcast called Cock Soup. There's got to be one already.
I did take a picture of the shelf tag at how much it's only 50 cents. Look at that.
That's not bad. It's $4.55 an ounce though, or something like that. So that's
apparently $4.55 a pound.
Powdered cock soup.
Powdered cock soup.
Yeah, there's got to be I bet there's a podcast called Cock Soup.
We'll have to find out.
It's Bobby Lee and
and if there's not,
Eliza Schlesinger and a random porn star every week.
If there's not, it needs to be started. That's the thing.
That's right.
So there you go.
Today's guest is Mad Dog Christopher Russo on Cock Soup.
Cock Soup.
Governor, welcome to Cock Soup. This is my co-host.
Governor, welcome to Cock Soup. I gotta love it.
There you go.
All right. Well, on that note, let's talk Super Bowl, shall we?
Oh, it's been so long ago.
It's been a week and a half. Yeah, it's been a week and a half.
Everything happened. Good game. Yep. It is amazing how similar the Kansas City Chiefs are becoming to the New England Patriots when they were winning Super Bowls. To me, it's almost the opposite, though. It's almost the flip. Whereas Brady kind of started, it was more sort of really, really, really eat up the time of possession and run the ball and occasional passing and strong defense. And then that flipped. And then, towards the end of his career, Brady was throwing for 460 yards. And even though they beat the Rams in a tight one, but the
first three Super Bowls Brady won, and
right,
the Patriots won there. They won all three of them by 3 points.
Right. And now,
each
you have to give a lot of credit to Andy Reid and Spagnuolo. I mean, for an incredible game plan and the ability to sort of shift based on what the personality of the team is, not what it wants to be, what it actually is. And look, that game could have went either way. I think you could say that about every Super Bowl, with the exception of maybe one or two. They seem to always be a chance for somebody to come back and win at some point.
Right.
It's the nature of the NFL these days. But I never sort of felt, oh yeah, the 49ers are going to win this game. I never felt that way. And I think that the biggest difference in this game was coaching. I think that both teams, showed a little bit of lack of discipline, but I think at the end of the day, the Chiefs were better prepared for the different situations that were at hand, and they blocked and tackled better. And I can't foresee the 49ers not being the same team next year. Yeah. But until somebody knocks off Kansas City, and people have, Joe Burrow knocked them off, but couldn't win in the Super Bowl. And there's still a chance of that.
And Brady beat him in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Other than that, Brady won every Super Bowl.
Well, Brady beat him. The only 3 times Patrick Mahomes has lost in the playoffs is Brady in the Super Bowl, Brady in the AFC divisional game or championship game,
championship game,
and then Joe Burrow in the championship game. So, it just hats off. Andy Reid for many, many, many years was the guy who was a great coach who could never win, right? And it just goes to show, if you're going to be a great NFL coach, you have to have a difference maker on the offensive side of the ball, and you have to have a difference maker on the defensive side of the ball. And Chris Jones and Patrick Mahomes are difference makers. they separate themselves from other players. And that's
literally and figuratively.
Yeah, literally. I mean, so hats off. You know, I mean, there's all the chatter, blah, blah. But yeah, I made the mistake. I made the mistake of picking the Baltimore Ravens. It was the one bad pick I made in the entire playoffs. But I just could not foresee the 49ers winning. Now, having said that, they were close, and they could be. I don't see a team other than maybe the Lions being better than them next year. I can't see Brock Purdy and this 49ers team getting worse. I just don't. They're young. They have most of the players are under contract. Maybe they need to shore themselves up a little bit on the offensive line. Maybe they need a little bit of depth on the defensive side. Same thing could be said for Kansas City. But the difference is that both of these coaches know how to use their personnel. And I felt like Kansas City throughout these entire playoffs knew who they were and never tried to be anything other than what they were.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And I think San Francisco in the Super Bowl was also very good at that. The difference is just when it came time for the big plays, the Chiefs executed better. And there were some breakdowns on the 49ers that cost them the game.
Definitely. Look, I think the two things, and there were a lot of things that could have gone both either way, really. But the two things that are glowing for me, and I'm not saying anything, you know.
Sure.
What's the word I'm looking for?
Conspiracy, Johnny.
No, not at all. I'm not saying anything that's just outrageous right now that anybody wouldn't have already thought of. But the two things that were glowing for me are the muff punt.
Right.
All right.
That was a game changer.
That was a game changer, and not kicking the extra point, not making the extra point.
Right.
He makes that extra point, Mahomes, and everything else does the same thing. I mean, because that didn't take away any other play. Nothing changed after that. Nothing would have changed after that. That was either making it or not. Everything else was the same.
Would have, could have, should have.
Right. So
every game is like that. And
so come down to it, Mahomes would have had to have thrown. Now, that doesn't mean they would have. The 49ers would have lost, would have won, but Mahomes would have then had to have thrown a touchdown pass on the fourth down.
But you could go back and say the same thing about the early drive with Kansas City, where they did a stupid end around to a wide receiver again and didn't score. You know, the one that led to Kelsey screaming at Andy Reid. Right. There's things on both sides that go that way.
Of course, that's why I said, yeah, absolutely, 100%. So, but
you're right. It was much easier to kick the field goal and then go ahead and win it in overtime.
Sure, absolutely. And then all the chatter about San Francisco not knowing the new overtime rules that they instituted in the playoffs this year, where they obviously should have deferred. Then so.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
Yeah, I don't 100% agree with it.
It worked out that way.
Yeah, but if you think about it, I know what you're saying.
I want the ball. I want it in my hands.
Right, but I understand what you're saying. I do too. Right, but here's the thing: you're going to get, no matter what happens, you're going to get the ball. Right, so at least you know what you need to do. So if the first team can't get in on third down, they're going to kick a field goal on fourth down.
Understood.
Okay.
Yeah, we get all that.
If now you have it, you have to throw it. You have to throw a touchdown pass.
Unless Dan Campbell was in the Super Bowl. Then
unless Dan Campbell's in the Super Bowl,
then you don't fucking know.
That's completely different story then at that point, right? Exactly.
Yeah, it is what it is. Look, I think when it went to overtime, my assessment of it was I have better faith in the Kansas City defense stopping the 49ers offense than I do in the 49ers defense stopping the Chiefs offense. I just sort of felt that way. I just felt like Kansas City is going to be able to get the ball in the end zone or a little easier than the 49ers. Agreed. And that's what happened.
Couple of Super Bowl records that were broken this year.
Oh, please.
Not in any particular order, by the way. Rashid Rice, Rashid Rice, rookie wide receiver for the Chiefs. Broke the receptions by a rookie in the Super Bowl or in the playoffs. I'm sorry, in the playoffs. He certainly didn't do it in the Super Bowl. In the playoffs this year, 26. And he broke. You know whose record he broke?
I'm gonna say what's his name who left Kansas City and went to Miami.
No,
Okay.
yeah, this was
Jerry,
this was
Jerry Rice.
nope, much more recent than that. In 2021, Jamar Chase.
Now Jamar Chase.
Yeah, he had 25 in 2021. That was the
There you
rookie receptions record in the playoffs.
Ah.
Next one. Isaiah Pacheco, first rookie running back with Super Bowl wins. He wasn't a rookie this year; he was a rookie last year. First rookie running back with Super Bowl to win a Super Bowl in both his first and second season.
Yeah,
and Tony Dorsett started in his first and second season, but he didn't win in his one. I think he won in the first and he lost in the second. But
yeah, they didn't win. They didn't win back to Dallas. Those Dallas teams never won back to back, did they?
No, they didn't. Let me tell you something. If you think about it, and I was talking to somebody the other day about this. Really quick aside. The winningest division, Super Bowl winningest division in the NFL is we always say it is the NFC East. It is right. Dallas has won 5. The Giants have won 4. Washington has won 3.
Right.
And the Eagles have won 1. So that's 13. Right? Yeah. 1, 2. Yeah. 13.
A lot of that just has to do with longevity, too.
Of course. No. Well, longevity, with the exception of the new teams, everybody's been in the league the same amount of time for the Super Bowl.
Right. But every team in that division has been around a long time.
Of course.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Right.
But there's no Carolina Panthers in that division.
Right. No. I got you. But here's the thing. Oddly enough, Dallas is, the winningest team now. They went to a lot of Super Bowls. They lost a bunch too. Okay. Yeah. So
they had to play those Steelers teams.
When the Giants won their second Super Bowl, and I'm going somewhere else besides the Giants. So when the Giants won their second Super Bowl in 1990, they were at that point tied with the Cowboys for Super Bowl wins. They both had 2.
Right.
Cowboys only before the triplets, Aikman, Smith, and Michael Irvin. Before those 3 Super Bowls in the 90s, Dallas only won 2 Super Bowls. So when the Giants won their second, Dallas, Giants, and Washington all had 2. The year after that, Washington won. So Washington actually had at that point won the most Super Bowls in the NFC East.
Right.
So with 3, but anyway, and they haven't won since. But yeah. So it's just oddly enough that. But yeah, Isaiah Pacheco, first running back to win in his rookie season and his second season, starting rookie running back.
Yeah.
Here we go. Chiefs defense. It's the first time the youngest defense won the Super Bowl.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. The youngest defense. The Colts had the youngest defense in 2009 when they went to the Super Bowl, but they didn't win. They lost to the Saints. So, and then Brock Purdy is the lowest seeded drafted quarterback to start in a Super Bowl. All right. There's only been one other.
Well, there's been others that were undrafted that played in a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, I believe. No, maybe 1 or 2, but I don't know. But or at least there's been others that were undrafted that were part of the roster, whether they started or not. Yeah.
Right.
So Brock Purdy is the lowest seed to start in a Super Bowl. There's only been one other quarterback that was drafted in the 7th round. He wasn't Mr. Irrelevant, but he was drafted in the 7th round to start in the Super Bowl. You know who that was?
Yeah, that was Tom Brady.
No, Tom Brady was drafted
in the fifth round.
It's a 6th round.
6th round. So I was close. So 7th round quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
To start in a Super Bowl, did he win?
No, he did not win. Want a hint?
I'm gonna say it was Jeff Hostetler.
No, Jeff Hostetler, I believe, was drafted in the 3rd or the 4th round.
Okay, I don't know then. Yeah, I'll give you a hint.
I'll give you a hint. You said Tom Brady. It was with the same team.
Oh, it was Drew Bledsoe.
Nope.
No, who was the other quarterback?
Only one other one.
Yeah. Why is his name escaping me? Patriots quarterback.
1985, if you're looking for it.
85. I'm trying to think of his name. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. Tony Eason? No, he didn't start.
No, and that was before that.
Yeah.
None?
No, I'm drawing a blank.
Steve Grogan.
Steve Grogan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Steve Grogan, drafted in the 7th round, started in the Super Bowl with the Patriots against the Bears in the '85 season, and lost, of course, to the Bears.
There you go.
Bears. Is there anything else worth? I got a bunch of them here, but is there anything else worth it? 49ers needed 8 points to have the 49ers needed 8 points to have to score the most points in Super Bowls.
All time. Yeah, Super Bowl points.
Okay. Yeah. So, and they got 22, obviously. So, so they have the record now with 261. You know who has the second most?
Oh, it's probably going to be the Patriots.
It's the Patriots. Yeah, Patriots with 246.
In way more Super Bowls, right?
Patriots have been in 11 Super Bowls.
And the 49ers have been in
49ers have been in
8.
8, yeah.
That's pretty incredible. I mean, obviously those Montana young teams scored a shit ton of points.
Sure. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, Steve Young threw for 6 touchdowns in Super Bowl 2029 or
yeah,
whatever.
you know, when I think about best performances by a quarterback in a Super Bowl, obviously more recently Brady's obviously there in a losing manner, nonetheless, to the Giants. Yeah. I think you know Phil Simms his name always comes up, especially amongst Giants fans. It was great. I would have to say, even though Montana was a better overall quarterback, I think Steve Young's performance in the Super Bowl may be the greatest single game performance.
It was fantastic. It was fantastic. Steve Young had a great and you know what? I'll be honest with you. Joe Montana would probably tell you it was.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, the you know, in some of the most famous games with Montana, I mean, he threw a lot of interceptions.
He did. Yeah. That he did. Kelsey Mahomes came close to passing without interception completions, you know.
Yeah, he threw one dumb one.
One dumb one, yeah.
Brady's human. He's human.
Brady's still in first with 237. Breeze is second with 221, and obviously Mahomes 217. Even if he threw 5 other passes before that pick, he would have jumped up above Drew Brees. But Harrison, and here's one more. Well, here's 2 really quick. Kelsey needed 7 more yards to become the first tight end with multiple 100-yard reception games in Super Bowls. So he only had 93. He only had 93 yards. But Harrison Butker needed 3 field goals to set the record for most field goals in Super Bowls, and he got 4, so he has the record with 9. And he broke the tied record of Adam Vinatieri and Steve Gostkowski. They both have 7.
Yeah, Patriots kickers.
And of course, Moody kicked the longest field goal at that point, which was 55. He broke,
and then Butker broke it, right?
And Butker broke it a quarter later with 57. So yeah.
I think that had to do with the indoor stadium, and
it might have had a little to do with it. Yeah, just a scooch, just to.
Yeah, I think they pump in oxygen in the stadium, much like the casinos there.
It could possibly be. And of course, this beat the record for viewership of any broadcast of anything. 123.4 million people watched.
Really? That's incredible. I didn't realize that.
123.4 million people watched this.
You know, I guess, and this is an obvious statement that I guess it took me a little time to sort of come to grips on just the separation between the two. But football is doubling, tripling, and then lapping again every other sport when it comes to interest and viewership. Obviously, this year, you know, say what you will, you know, Taylor Swift has had an amazing impact on just people new to the game watching it. But when you think about the football versus the NBA finals versus the World Series versus, I mean, the NHL isn't even really in the conversation. Even tennis, even in golf, football is just, which is why when you turn on any sports channel, even this 2 weeks after the Super Bowl,
Yep. Still talking about it.
All they talk about is football.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, there's certain shows that I watched. I taped actually and watched for a couple weeks leading up to the Super Bowl. There was one show. I'll say what it was. It was the Craig Carton show. They didn't talk about anything but football for 2.5 weeks straight. In fact, I still don't think they've talked about another sport since then.
Probably not.
It's insane.
Yeah, it is insane.
I think it comes down to a couple things. I think that it's a once a week, for the most part, kind of experience. At least your team plays once a week.
Sure.
I think that it's sort of a scheduled type of thing. It's Sundays, days that most people have off. It's an occasional, it's a Monday if you want that, a night where most people do not go out. And all right, let's throw in an occasional Thursday, but we're going to put it on Prime every once in a while, which I think is a mistake.
I do too.
But there's something about the marketing of the NFL, and I think that the halftime show and who they get, they have a really good strategy to get younger viewers and to maintain older viewers. The old people are going to watch it no matter what, even though they're going to complain about Usher's pelvic thrust or whatever the case might be. But there's enough. I think there's enough foresight and cross marketing in the NFL that it becomes a spectacle.
Yep.
And whether you want to watch the game or not, the Super Bowl is there's never going to be anything that matches it. There's just not.
Agreed. Couple other really quick ones. Longest Super Bowl game ever, game time wise.
Because of the overtime.
Because of the overtime, it was 3 seconds left in overtime. 74 minutes and 57 seconds.
Can I ask you a question on that?
Sure.
I don't know the answer. I felt like there were less interruptions commercial wise, but I feel like they were longer. I felt like the breaks in play were longer than they have been.
Yeah, they were. I believe you're right. I mean, I didn't do any stats on it, but right. I believe you're right. I believe there was fewer commercial breaks, but when they did take them, there was an extra commercial or two in those breaks.
Yeah.
But Mahomes rushed for now has 172 yards rushing. That's the most by a quarterback cumulative in Super Bowl games.
That seems low, but when you think about it, there's never really been a rushing quarterback that's won multiple Super Bowls. I mean, Steve Young a little bit. Right. Mahomes is obviously, I don't think of him only as a rushing quarterback, but he does have, I think this was his highest rushing yards. Was this game?
It's this one, yeah. Absolutely.
This is so riveting. John's falling asleep.
Exactly. No. The two longest field goals ever, and then the other one is, and we said it before, Steve Spagnuolo. He's the first defensive coordinator in history of NFL to win 4 Super Bowls as defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I think Spagnuolo's game plan, and who knows, I do believe that Andy Reid on the defensive side does kind of defer to him for the most part. I feel like Spagnuolo's game plan was the only one that was maybe better was Belichick's in 90.
Yeah.
It was pure genius, and they bent, they didn't break. He put that he really knew how to eke every little thing out of that defense, even though there were just some bonehead plays by Kansas City in the first half, especially.
Yeah.
But Spagnuolo, God, is he the best defensive coordinator of all time?
I mean, you got to say he's got to be in the conversation. If you don't just say yes, he's got to be in the conversation.
I think he is.
Obviously, I would say Belichick, but Belichick was only in 2 Super Bowls as defensive coordinator. Well, no, that's not true. He was in 3 Super Bowls as defensive coordinator. He won 2 of them, lost 1 when he was with the Patriots with Parcells.
Right.
And then
you look at those Steelers.
So Spagnuolo was in more Super Bowls as defensive coordinator than Belichick was, and has won 4 out of 5.
It's crazy, right?
Because he wasn't the defensive coordinator for the Giants' second Super Bowl against the Pats.
He wasn't.
He wasn't. No, he was the head coach of the Rams at the time.
That's right.
And Perry Fewell was the defensive coordinator for the Giants.
Who was the Steelers' defensive coordinator in the 70s?
Good question. Jim, get on that. Jimmy.
Okay, we got a Jim now? Oh, okay.
Jimmy, get on that. I forgot the me. Jimmy, get on that. You're checking it out. You can figure it out. Who was it?
Bud Carson.
Bud Carson. Yes, Bud Carson.
I think he's got to be up there as well.
Yeah. Was he the defense coordinator for all 4 games?
I don't know. He was the defensive coordinator in 72. Carson considered one of the best defensive minds ever to coach. Developed the steel curtain. Let's see.
Bud Carson was
the defensive coordinator from 72 to 77. So he wasn't with any of them.
He won 2 Super Bowls.
Okay.
Bud Carson won 2 Super Bowls. Because ironically, the Steelers' second 2 Super Bowls, he was the defensive coordinator for the Rams, and one of those 2 Super Bowls, the Steelers beat the Rams.
Right.
So, but anyway, all right. Well, there you go. That's a lot of stats for you. I have a Super Bowl rank these for you, but I don't know. Do we want to do that? Or do you want to hold it? Ladies and gentlemen, we haven't. I'm remiss. I didn't announce. Radio Pete is not on the show with us tonight. He had a prior engagement.
He's at the OnlyFan Awards.
He's at the OnlyFan Awards. He's busy. He might. We might be fortunate enough if he does jump on, but for the most part, he's not going to be on tonight. So my question to you, Harry.
I'm done with football.
Well, I like this. What I did, what I got here. So maybe we'll save it for the next show, just to throw it in at the end there. Yeah. But that just one more thing on football, though. Just got to ask you your opinion. The NFL honors. Pete and I spoke about it, and when you were commenting in when we did the Super Bowl Sunday show, the Hall of Fame class was announced. The next Hall of Fame class, the 2024 Hall of Fame class was announced. Right. The next Hall of Fame class to be announced would be the 2025 Hall of Fame class.
That's how it goes.
Exactly. Eli Manning will be eligible for that class. Okay. Mm-hmm. Your opinion? Does he get in on the first ballot?
I don't think he does. I think he's going to get closer than he would have. I think him being on the air on Monday nights with his brother, I think has helped keep his name, current. Mm-hmm. I think Eli Manning is the best Giants quarterback of all time. I don't think that's debatable. Eli Manning has had a very up and down career. He can drive you absolutely insane. And then he can perform some of the biggest upsets in the history of the game and the biggest games. Mm-hmm. So I think that winning 2 Super Bowls
and 2 Super Bowl MVPs
and beating
arguably
the best team in the history of the game mm-hmm. once, and another very good Patriots team. I think that he will eventually get in. I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Now I could be wrong. But I don't think he is. However, I don't know where other quarterbacks have sort of scored in, because I think his contemporaries are still not eligible yet. The Ben Roethlisbergers of the world.
They're not. This is my point. Here's my rationale with it. Right. I think Eli Manning is getting in the Hall of Fame. Right. So all the detractors out there, most of them either, and I will say this, most of the ones that I've heard, that I've had conversations with, or I've seen online in groups, most of the detractors are either Cowboys fans, Eagles fans, or some disenchanted Giants fans. All right. Let's call it what it is. But I think he will, regardless, he's getting in the Hall of Fame. Eli Manning will be a Hall of Fame. Okay. However, here's my rationale for why he gets in next year. Okay. Over the next 5 seasons. All right. And depending on what happens with Aaron Rodgers this year, if he does, he's obviously coming back to play. If he retires after this year or stays another one, if he retires after this year, over the next 6 seasons, right? There's pretty much every year one of the named quarterbacks. You got Drew Brees, you got Phillip Rivers, you got Ben Roethlisberger, you got Tom Brady, obviously Aaron Rodgers, depending on when he retires. So I don't, and all of them are getting in the Hall of Fame. Okay.
Well,
I
yeah,
honestly think the mindset when people go through it and look at it and think about it will be, okay, let's give everybody their year, right? Let's put Eli in now, and then we'll put Breeze and because it lines up that way, right? Because you don't put Eli in now, then Eli's up against Drew Brees next year. Not that they can't put them both in, but why would they? Okay.
I think,
and so forth and so on.
I think if you're really looking at it based on accomplishment, I think that, number one, I think Rodgers going to play 2 years.
I think he
Rodgers and Brady and
Roethlisberger.
No, who's the other no brainer?
Drew Brees.
Drew Brees. They're no brainers. Roethlisberger, Phillip Rivers, and Eli Manning. And look, I like all of them, and I think they all deserve to be in there. To me, their cases are not clear cut. They're not clear cut, especially Phillip Rivers. Mm-hmm. They're just not clear cut to me. They're great quarterbacks. Do I think they belong in the Hall of Fame? Yes, but based on where other players have gone,
right.
Are we just going to put every quarterback in the Hall of Fame?
No, not at all. No. I didn't mean it that way. I just meant their accomplishments.
I know what you're saying.
The only questionable one there is obviously Phillip Rivers because he didn't win the big game, but he won a lot, and he was there every year.
He was a great quarterback. He's like all other San Diego quarterbacks. He's like Dan Fouts. He's like a lot of people. He's like Dan Marino. He's not as good as Dan Marino, but Dan Marino's a no-brainer. But Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl. I'm not saying Dan
Marino went to a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Here's the thing: is that if Eli Manning, and this is a big if Eli Manning had only won one Super Bowl, I don't think he gets in.
Probably
if Ben Roethlisberger only won one Super Bowl, I don't think he gets in.
Right.
So the Super Bowl wins for Roethlisberger and Manning are what they're holding. That is their ticket in.
Mm-hmm. Keep in mind, now you're right about the ups and downs with Manning. Okay, 100%. And we've talked about it over all the years that he was the Giants starting quarterback. But keep in mind, he did have a few other seasons in there where the team did either average or shit. And he had an incredible season.
And he had good seasons. And he had
2008, the season after the Super Bowl, he had an amazing run. The Giants were one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NFL in 2008.
The OBJ years when Odell Beckham was first there. Right. What people don't realize
some of his best statistical years with OBJ in 14, 15, 16.
His best year was the second Super Bowl with Plexico Burress when they beat that. He had statistically better years after that. Here's the thing I will say about Eli Manning, and again, I love Eli Manning. I think he's great, but he's one of those players who his numbers are just they exceed the eye test. And it's probably part of his personality because he always seemed like he was ready to cry and didn't give a shit. Right. He just had that dumb fucking look on his face all the time. Right. And he could be shitty for 3.5 quarters. And then all of a sudden, somehow it was like a movie script. Here, the nerd comes back and orchestrates, a comeback. You're probably right. I think that it's getting easier, especially for quarterbacks to get in on the first ballot. And I think time has helped him because I think there's going to be a lot of younger people voting on it. Younger meaning not 75. So he might get in on the first ballot. Right. If looking at the past history of the Super Bowl of the Football Hall of Fame, I'm going to stick by what I said. I think they'll all get in. I don't think Rivers, Roethlisberger, and Manning are first ballot Hall of Famers.
Time will tell. We will see. We'll have more on this, obviously, next January when they start making the announcements. So there you go. All right.
This would be the first Giants quarterback to make it to the Hall of Fame in quite some time, right? Is Sims in the Hall of Fame now?
Sims is not in the Hall of Fame. Last Giants quarterback that went to the Hall of Fame was Trent Tarkenton. Yeah,
which he was. I think of him more as a Minnesota Vikings quarterback than a New York Giants. Sure.
He had great. He was on the Giants for 5 seasons and went to 4 Pro Bowls.
I understand that.
He had great seasons with the Giants.
But if
the rest of the team didn't.
Other than nerdy Giants fans named Jersey Johnny, nobody thinks of Fran Tarkenton as a Giant. They think of him as a Viking.
Okay. Well, what about the quarterback from the Giants that went to the Hall of Fame prior to Fran Tarkenton?
Well, yeah.
Do you think
Sonny
of him?
Jurgensen? Is that what we're talking?
No, Wyatt Tittle.
Wyatt Tittle, yeah. Wyatt Tittle, certainly. But I'm saying in the modern era, Kurt Warner doesn't really count. He was a Giant. He had a couple good years, or one good year, but he doesn't count. This will be the first Giants quarterback.
Well, technically, you're right? Because I mean, he did play 9 games for the Giants, but he's the most recent Giants quarterback to make Hall of Fame.
Right.
And when you make Hall of Fame, it's not like the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Well, I understand. You get all the teams. You get
every team you were on. You're in for that team.
Right.
So Kurt Warner is a Giant.
But I don't think of Kurt Warner as a Giant. I don't think, even though Plexico Burress was a great Giant, he's a Steeler. So to me, this, other than the Michael Strahans of the world, this is like a big thing for Giants fans, because this is one of the, an offensive player for the Giants, especially at a quarterback, a position that we've notoriously had a hard time filling.
Sure.
I think it'll be a big thing. I also think that is Peyton already in? Did Peyton already get inducted?
Peyton's in.
Yeah. So I think that
Peyton went in first ballot.
Yeah,
3 years ago.
That's what I thought. I forgot he ended much sooner, but I don't know. I mean, looking at the rest of there hasn't been too many bubble quarterbacks like this recently that have been eligible for the Hall of Fame that have gotten in. Some of them have struggled quite a bit. Think about the people who aren't in the Hall of Fame yet.
And I still say, and I think it'll happen on one of these legacy votes. Like last year, Joe Klecko went in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
This year, you see Randy Gradishar.
For the Broncos. Yeah,
for the Broncos. Right. So I do think eventually, at some point, some years from now, you'll see Phil Simms in the Hall of Fame.
Possibly.
He had a lot of good years with the Giants.
He had a lot of bad years too.
Yeah. And he set some Super Bowl records. He still holds.
Right.
So,
but there's Doug Williams had a great Super Bowl. I don't count him as a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Phil Simms played a lot more years as a starting quarterback than Doug Williams.
I understand that. Phil Simms had some really good years as a starting quarterback, and Phil Simms had some really mediocre years as a
early on his.
And here's the one thing, and I know a lot of Phil Simms fans hate me for saying this. I don't think you're a Hall of Fame quarterback if you did not get hurt. I still believe that Giants team does not win the Super Bowl in 1990 with Simms as quarterback.
I said that to you. I said that to you that day.
Yeah.
If Jeff Hostetler is not the quarterback in Super Bowl 25 and Phil Simms is the quarterback, the Giants lose that Super Bowl.
Right. So I like Simms. Don't get me wrong, but being a little bit more subjective and not just the Giants diehard, I think Simms had a great game in the Super Bowl, and he had some great years. And
he did have the Giants go 10-0.
Right, I understand
that year as well.
I understand.
So,
I understand.
He had a great year in '89 too.
But Colin Kaepernick had a team, had as good a year. So I think Simms will get in. I think Eli will get in. I'm going to stand by what I said. I think of all of them. Personally, I think Roethlisberger is has the best chance of getting in on the first ballot.
Gotcha. Yeah.
He just played in a lot of Super Bowls.
He did. He played in 1, 2,
4, right?
He played in 1, 2, 3 Super Bowls. He played in 3.
Okay.
3. He beat Seattle.
Yeah.
He beat the Cardinals, and then he lost to the Packers.
Yeah. And a lot of it, the flip side of that is a lot of Roethlisberger's success was at the beginning of his career, much like Rodgers.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And Eli's was sort of towards the middle end. So
early, not as early as Roethlisberger, but early to mid. 4 years and 8 years in.
Yeah,
and he played for 16 years. So his second Super Bowl he won was right in the middle of his career. So
true. Yeah, that's those end years that were just painful to remember.
Yeah, because they did the best. The last time they had a solid offensive line to put in front of them was the Super Bowl. Was Super Bowl 46.
The other thing that helps Eli Manning is that the Giants for a long time there were brilliant at drafting wide receivers.
Sure.
And then as soon as someone wanted more money,
see ya. Next.
We got another one. And Eli, especially during those that years 4 through 10, let's call it, he had some great. He had a good cast around him, and of course their offensive line was better. But I also think the game was a little different. I mean, I think the lack of success that Eli Manning started to have towards the end was a combination of the Giants really having horrible coaching, a bad offensive scheme, and maybe not the right talent around him. I also think that the game was just changing, and Eli was exposed more.
Fair enough. All right. Well, we'll find out. Like I said, we'll find out.
I mean, I hope he gets it. It'd be a great story. I'm just being honest.
I honestly think that the discussion we're having, really, when you come right down to it, is not if he'll get in, it's when he'll get in. Because Eli Manning. Look, Eli Manning is going to the Hall of Fame, even if it's on his 8th year. He's going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. But I mean, and if you look at Manning's, I mean, again, he played a long time. If you look at Manning, where he ranks in the history books, he's up there on a lot of categories.
He's in the
some
top
good,
10.
some good, some bad.
He's still in the top 10 in a lot of categories. Yeah. Interceptions are the only one, but he's not number one. There's quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame that have threw more.
Without a doubt.
Anyway,
all right. That's a convenient argument.
Once, absolutely. I do have some stat trivia that I'm not going to hold off. I'll keep the rank these for Pete. Right. But I just want to ask you this really quick. I'll throw the banner up. I will throw it up here. There we go. NFL playoffs trivia question of the week, Super Bowl. There we go. Just shout it out. Okay, if you know when you know it. First one to ask you. These are all Super Bowl records. Okay. Highest quarterback rating for a game.
Phil Simms.
150.92. Phil Simms in Super Bowl 21 against Denver.
Yeah.
He was 22 for 25 or 23 for 25. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
He had 88% passing percentage. His rating was 150.92. All right.
Right.
Lowest quarterback rating for a game in the Super Bowl.
Winning quarterback or losing quarterback?
Winning quarterback. Lowest quarterback rating for the winning quarterback in the Super Bowl.
I want to say it was. Was it Joe Theismann?
It was not Joe Theismann, no.
Am I right in saying that it was somebody in the 80s, 70s, or 80s? No, it's more recent.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's think. It hasn't been Mahomes. It certainly wasn't Brady. It certainly wasn't Matthew Stafford. It's who's the Eagles quarterback?
Jalen Hurts.
Nick Foles.
Maybe not that recent. How's that? Split the difference.
Okay.
What do you think?
Peyton Manning.
It was not Peyton Manning, although good guess, actually.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Tell me.
We've mentioned his name.
Okay. Steve Grogan.
He didn't win. In the last 5 minutes, we've mentioned his name.
So. Ben Roethlisberger.
Okay,
that makes sense.
Super Bowl 40 against Seattle. Pittsburgh won.
That was his nasty
quarterback. His quarterback rating was 22.6.
Was that the long interception return for touchdown by what's his name? Yeah.
So Super Bowl 40 against Seattle, but they won. And then one more I'll ask you. Highest quarterback rating for a career. Minimum 40 games.
In the Super Bowl.
You know,
I'm for obviously this could include games won and lost.
Oh yeah.
I want to say Brady, but Brady had a couple games where his rating was probably too low. That's the obvious choice, but I think I'm going to go with. I think I'm going to go with Joe Montana.
You are right. 127.83. Joe Montana in 4 Super Bowls. He has minimum 40 attempts. So minimum 40 attempts. I mean, that could be one Super Bowl.
Or every one of Terry Bradshaw's Super Bowls.
Or every one of Terry Bradshaw's Super Bowls. So there you go.
7 of 10 for 127 yards, but a perfect quarterback rating. Yeah.
Exactly. So there you go. All right. There you have it. All right, let's talk about this for a couple minutes. The basketball game.
Oh God.
The only ones I don't want to bring it up. Otherwise, we wouldn't talk about this. We just wait and talk some basketball. Obviously,
I get it. I think it's a good topic.
211 to 186. I mean, what are we doing here?
Let me ask you a question. You're a pretty big basketball fan. Maybe not as big as me, but did you watch any of this?
No, I can't say that.
Did you?
Where I was, it was on. So did I watch any of it? Yes.
Did you pay attention to any of this?
I didn't pay attention to most of it. No.
Exactly, because it was on in the background too for me, and I couldn't bear myself to fucking pay attention to it. I'd rather clean my toaster. In 1993, there were 22.6 million people watching the NBA All-Star Game. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, people have different viewing habits. Was the game even on regular network television, or was it on?
You know what? Good question.
I think it might have been on TBS.
I think it was on TBS. Yeah, I think it was on TBS. Yeah.
So this year, I think it was 4.3 or something like that. Mm-hmm. So it's dropped dramatically,
big time, huge. Yeah. It's not even close to what it used to be.
Yeah. And look, I still think it's a great thing for kids. I remember once I was lucky enough, I think it was when I was at the Meadowlands, to go to the day before the All-Star Game festivities. And I think that was really exciting this year. The dunk contest is sort of, when white guys are winning the dunk contest, like what's going on here? I think that early on in the game, there were some interesting things. I think Luka and Jokic were having a lot of fun, and it was entertaining. Mm-hmm. But when Karl Anthony Towns can score 50 points in an All-Star
50 points. Karl Anthony Towns scored 50 points.
And he took like 25 3-pointers.
And the West still lost by almost 30 points.
Yeah.
Like 25 points.
Look, here's where this is heading.
Steph Curry scored more points when he went up against Ionescu the night before the 3-point shots than he did.
Here's where this is heading. It's heading towards the sad reality of what the Pro Bowl is right now, which is the saddest thing I ever saw. Grown men running around playing flag football. I think the All-Star Game needs to continue. I think that it's going to become more skills-oriented, and I think that they need to have it be the consequences of the game need to be reinforced. And I'm not saying you got to go all out. I don't want people getting hurt, but when Larry Bird, or even before that, or after that, even into the early 2000s, it was competitive and people took pride in it. Now, I like the East versus West. I don't want Team LeBron and Team Bozo and Team fucking Skedaddle Daddle. I like East versus West. I'm a traditionalist. I like that. It needs to mean something, and it shouldn't mean home court advantage in the playoffs or anything like that. But do you know how they got the players to buy into this stupid tournament in the beginning of the season? Money.
Oh, well, yeah, of course.
They need to make the stakes a little higher on this. Mm-hmm. And I think that'll get people to play. I also think there's too many people on the roster. And I think that they need to cut the quarters down time-wise, shrink the length of the game, and make it more competitive.
That sounds good to me. I mean, yeah, I'm looking at it here. Each quarter, the East scored over 50 points in each quarter. 53, 51, 56, and 51 for 2.
Well, it's a shoot around.
It's all it is. That's all it is.
And look, that's what people come out to see. But it's not even as exciting as it used to be. It's just guys hoisting up 3-pointers. Mm-hmm. No, they should make the All-Star Game. Any points you score in the paint is 3, and anything you score outside of the 3-point line is 1. Then we'll see an All-Star Game.
Agreed.
Yeah,
agreed. All right. Just looking at this, I got a 4 got to stay, but this 4 got to stay can happen anytime. Do you want to do it, or you want to save it for Pete?
We'll save it for Pete.
Save it for Pete. I feel bad. I will ask you this one though.
Four got to stay is not good without Pete's irrational response.
Of course. Hey, you got to have those. It's the only way to do it, right? I will ask you this though, because it's going to be so far out.
Right.
I had 1 week. I got. I'll throw the banner up for it. I got one more Super Bowl quickie for you.
All right.
What was your favorite commercial?
You know what? I did not pay attention. I'll be honest. What I did, I watched the game. I sort of was coming in and out. I was dealing with some stuff. I was watching a taped. It might have been. Was it John's? I was watching Bill Maher that I taped while the halftime and the commercials were on.
Okay, so, sounds about right.
I think the Matt Damon, Ben Affleck one. There was nothing great. There was nothing great. There was
nothing like holy shit. I mean, this is ridiculous. But I will say I did like the Matt Damon, Ben Affleck one with Tom Brady and J-Lo, and I saw I forget what show he was on. But
by the way, the best part of that commercial was J-Lo.
Oh yeah,
Tom, you could stay.
Whatchamacallit, I did watch. I forget what talk show it was, but Mark Wahlberg was on it, and he said, "Why the hell weren't you in that commercial? You're from Boston.
Yeah,
you've been in movies with those guys. Why weren't you?" He goes, I asked myself.
They can't afford me.
He goes, I asked myself the same thing. He says he's from the wrong side of Boston. he's from Southie. He's from
I don't think we need any more Mark Wahlberg.
Whatever. Anyway, but I will tell you though, I as you would imagine, the Agent State Farm was a pretty big one around.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I'm not sure I paid attention. The what?
Well, the end of the commercial,
right.
Was Danny DeVito shows up.
Yeah, I remember that.
So somebody actually liked it better than others because of that fact.
Yeah, like if it was somebody. Let's get somebody from New Jersey to pronounce the word correctly, who if he pronounced it like he was from New Jersey, would be completely wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah. I just have outside of the game, obviously, Taylor Swift was a big thing and everything, but I want to thank. I have two words that I want to say to Taylor Swift and thank her for. Those two words are Blake Lively. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. I think she should come to most games.
Yeah,
if not all. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. Mm. Other than that,
you heard it here first, folks. Blake Lively at more football games going forward.
Right. Yeah.
You did say that.
What a box full of celebrities, huh?
You want her husband there too, or
no? No, I don't. No, I don't.
No, you don't like Ryan Reynolds?
He kind of ruins the whole thing for me.
the whole vision.
He's very pretty. Don't get me wrong. He's very pretty, but he's not quite as
attractive as his wife.
Yeah,
I got you.
Although he's pretty close.
Yeah. Depending.
Yeah. Anyway. You just never know.
You just never know.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So we don't have an "Are They for Real" segment.
No. I mean, I guess we can announce that we have a winner for our Beaten by the Coin.
We do have. We will announce that because Pete was out of it regardless.
Yes.
It was just between the two of us. And yes, Harry did indeed beat me, and he beat me outright too. He didn't even need the prop bets.
No, and I won the tiebreaker as well.
You won the tiebreaker as well, yes.
Yeah. So,
but
we'll have to go over the prop bets when Pete is back. So
Pete has all the prop bets. We'll go over all of them in 2 weeks, and we'll do a couple of these, and we'll have a little bit longer. Are they for real segment? And,
I got a football question for you, if that's okay.
Oh, shoot it, go for it.
Obviously, I think was it Spagnuolo was extended. His contract was extended, right?
I believe so. I saw that. Yeah, I believe so.
Who was the 49ers defensive coordinator? Drawing a blank.
That got fired. Yes. Oh, geez. Yeah. Damn it. I actually got it right. Let me pull it up here.
While you're looking that up, I feel like this is look. The 49ers defense was not the best that they could possibly be in the playoffs.
Steve Wilkes.
But they were number 3, I think, in points allowed, or 13th in total. This guy did not do a bad job. So is this just Shanahan trying to find a scapegoat to sort of take attention away from certain things?
I've heard arguments to both sides. I'm leaning towards the scapegoat thing, but I've heard arguments for both sides that some of them sound compelling.
Did they already hire another defense coordinator?
I don't believe so. No.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe so. Oh, wait a minute. Nope, they have not.
Yeah. And then my other football thing is there
was speculation that they might ask Belichick to go be the defense.
Yeah, Belichick's not going to be anybody's defense.
Not so.
But that's a good segue. It's a good segue into where I'm going to go with this.
Go for it.
All right. I'm more fascinated with the drama of the New York Jets than I am actually concerned about the New York Jets. I don't really care. But you know, I was probably a bigger fan for Rodgers actually playing for the Jets last year than Pete was, who's an actual Jets fan, only because I just wanted a something other than the Giants, you know, before the Tommy DeVito insanity started. Do you think now it's a catch-22 because obviously if Rodgers plays this year and the Jets stink, Rodgers might just retire,
right?
Or they might move on from Rodgers, and you know. But do you think there's any chance that, and I'm going to say this because I don't think it's getting close. I understand. Do you think there's any chance that the New York Jets get rid of Robert Saleh either before the season starts or if they're not playing well during the season and hire Bill Belichick as a head coach?
Yes.
I do too.
Yes, I do.
I think that's the reason. Now, obviously, it's come out that Atlanta did not offer Belichick the job down there. He was not even he wasn't even asked for a second interview in San Diego. It might be the one place where I could picture Belichick. It's a kind of a nice time capsule. I'd love for it to be the Giants. Although I don't think the Giants have as much of a doubt in their coaching than the Jets do. I think it's tricky. I think it's a little sticky. I think it's not such a clean thing, and I think it probably would have happened already if it was going to happen before the season started.
Yeah, not necessarily. I mean, Woody Johnson's done some weird things.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm holding out. I think if I had a bet on it, I would say there's a 50-50 chance that Bill Belichick will be the New York Jets coach by the season beginning. And because I don't really have a lot of faith in Robert Saleh, I think he's a good defensive mind. I don't think he's going to get. I think what's come to fruition is that there's more friction between Rodgers and the Jets coaching staff, including Saleh, than we would be led on by otherwise. And so I think Bill Belichick. I don't know how it's going to pan out. I think he ends his career with the New York Jets.
I would tend to agree with you.
And it would be a marvelous story if Aaron Rodgers and Bill Belichick win a Super Bowl together. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be Rodgers. I think it's going to be somebody else. And I don't know who that's going to be, but I think
Daniel Jones when the Giants move on from him and the Jets pick him up.
Bill Belichick is way too smart for that.
I'm kidding.
My other question to you is, what are the odds of Saquon Barkley being back with the Giants next year?
He'll be back.
Okay.
He'll be back.
I knew you'd have more confidence in that than many other people.
He'll be
and
back.
Then my final question.
He'll have a contract. It's not going to be another tag. He'll have a contract.
Yeah. My final question. I think it's going to be 4 years.
Hold that thing.
Okay.
It's going to be 4 years. Opt out after 3. Money's going to work out as far as guaranteed that he's going to want. He'll finish his career as a Giant. And the reason for this, and they're going to be able to do that this year, is because of all the other running backs that are available.
Right.
All right. So if he was the only one that was hitting free agency,
right, he'd probably be in Dallas already.
Right.
Okay. Now, my final question: will the New York Giants, and I doubt it will be in the first round, but if in the second round or maybe even the third round, which I just can't believe, if Michael Penix or who I'm hot on, Bo Nix is available. Let me rephrase that. Will the Giants draft a quarterback?
Yes.
Draft?
Yes. Okay. Not in the first round. Yes, they will.
And here's my
unless they can move up to the Patriots spot, They're not moving. Chicago just wants to rape everybody every time.
Right.
Yeah. But
I think Chicago's going to stick with Justin Fields.
I do too, and they're gonna draft Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah,
with the first overall pick.
I agree.
But whatchamacallit, if they move up to the Patriots, there's been talk about that. If the Giants can move up to the Patriots number 3 pick and not have to give up a shit ton of picks or whatever else, and it's doable. It makes sense. Then I can see them going after one of the big names. But other than that, they're going to take an offensive lineman again, or if one of these great receivers fall to them,
right.
Which obviously is not going to be Martin Harrison Jr. It's probably going to be the kid from LSU.
Kid from LSU, and the quarterback from LSU is also going to go way higher than we thought.
Right.
I think anybody thinks he should go.
And then in the second round, they'll take a quarterback.
Here's my surprise draft prediction. Bo Nix is going to be picked in the first round by the Denver Broncos.
I can see that.
I don't know why people are so down on that guy. I really don't. I mean, obviously, he's.
I think the fact that he's 38 might have something to do with it.
That's fine. I mean, Jalen Hurts was also like that. Remember, six-year starter. 38's great. He's right in his prime. He got 4 good years out of him, and then
exactly.
And then you don't have to renew his rookie contract.
You're done, right? He's done.
Perfect. All right. That's enough football. Let's put football away.
I know. Till other than this little Super Bowl thing I got, we'll do it, Pete, in a couple of weeks. So we'll bring football back up again in April for the draft, and which is kind of what we're just talking about now anyway. So we're only a couple months away from the draft.
Draft is fascinating to me this year.
Yeah,
the reason why is I watched a lot more college football this year than
I did too.
Many years.
It's probably been at least 20 years since I watched as much college football as I did this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, this will be fun draft. So we'll talk about that. But all right.
Baseball.
Baseball. The spring training, started last week. I'll throw the graphic up there. Hey, you know what? There's a lot of pundits out there picking the Yankees to do wondrous things between Judge and Soto.
Yankees need pitching. Here is my Brian Cashman, because I know you're listening. I know you hang on every word that I say. Just do it. Just go out there and sign Blake Snell and sign Jordan Montgomery.
I cannot believe Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery are not signed yet.
Just do it. Just do it.
Or anybody, and then
do it.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And I'm shocked that they haven't already. And I'm shocked that the Mets haven't picked up one of them either.
And the team that's really being more Yankee-like than the Yankees is the Red Sox.
Yeah.
5, 6, 7 years ago, they would have had both of them signed up.
Mm-hmm. So,
look, the Yankees need pitching. They really do.
It doesn't make any sense. The Mets do too. And I'm just looking at what David Stearns is doing. I think he's really pushing the whole longevity basket. They got a lot. I mean, the Mets are one of the top teams with prospects, and they got a lot of great prospects. So he wants to go that young route, controllable, less money. Not that Steve Cohen can't afford it, but have that mill that the Yankees had for so long.
Right.
That same model.
Right.
And he did out in Milwaukee.
But you have to have a combination, which the Yankees sort of have. The Astros have done that. They've homegrown plus targeted free agency.
The Braves have been doing that for
years.
Braves
have done that. Texas Rangers did that big time. I mean, so they invested in a lot of people. That look, Texas Rangers, that might be the quickest turnaround after a huge investment in free agency in the history of Major League Baseball. I mean, other than when Atlanta bought an entire team at the trade deadline,
right? Pretty much, and won the World Series.
And that's what I'm saying. I mean, and Texas won too. So I think what the Texas model, the Astros Texas combo of youth and free agency, but you got to go in strong. And look, the other thing I think the Yankees Chapman is still available out there as a first baseman, right? I don't think he was signed this week, unless I'm mistaken.
Obviously, by you saying first baseman, I didn't think you were talking about Aroldis.
No, not at all.
Matt,
he's the least favorite Yankee of all time. God, come on.
Yeah.
Let's just win one now. We got Soto. We only have Soto for 1 year. Judge is going to become, knock on wood. I love him, but he's just.
Well, you know where everybody's picking after Soto does great things in the Bronx this year. You know where he was picking him to wind up the following year.
Yeah, he's going to go to the Mets.
Yeah, so
I look. They said the same. Judge was another guy who held out, had a great year, and the Yankees paid him buku bucks. If Soto has a great year, he'd be dumb to leave the Yankees. He'd be dumb,
especially with the short porch and him hitting dingers.
Right, right, and he has the number one. Depending on how they line up, but most likely the number one power hitter in all of baseball up in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
And imagine if the Yankees got Matt Chapman and they could hit him behind him.
Mm-hmm.
His on-base percentage will be 6,000.
That's how you do it. You're right. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. I heard a funny little thing too. They interviewed Harrison Bader the other day. Obviously, he's on the Mets now.
Yeah, I miss him.
And he grew up locally.
He's from Bronxville.
He grew up in Bronxville, and he said that half of his family. I think the quote was, and I could be saying it wrong, but I'm pretty sure the quote was, half of his family is happy that he's on the Mets.
Right. He's
the other half, not so much.
He's the only other sports guy that plays with his mouthpiece as much as Steph Curry.
Right.
Yeah.
So
one quick thing, getting back to basketball. Congratulations to Sabrina Ionescu and congratulations to Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark, absolutely.
I mean, these two women together, that was the most exciting thing in basketball last week, was watching these two ladies absolutely destroy.
Do you imagine?
Sabrina Ionescu would have tied Damian Lillard for the three-point contest.
Right.
And Caitlin Clark, let me tell you something about Caitlin Clark. She might be the Pete Maravich of women's basketball. She might not go on to have, the Diana Taurasi career or the Leslie.
I think she will.
I think she might.
She will.
She might. But for all these,
Shaq was raving about it the other day, saying
she's getting a lot of shit. Not Cheryl Swoops. Cynthia Cooper was talking crap about her.
Well, no, Shaq wasn't talking crap about her.
No. I know. She is a better comparison is Steph Curry. She does it. She does amazing things, but she does it with a cockiness that you kind of are okay with, much like Steph Curry. Well, there's a showmanship to her that I've never seen before.
Well, you hit the nail on the head comparing it to Steph Curry, because that shot that put her over the broke the record was a complete Steph Curry shot.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, she was more than halfway between the arc and half court when she took that shot.
Right.
So,
we'll see. The rest of the NBA season, there's a lot of question marks. I think that this is 1 year where everything is up in the air. The injury to Embiid, I think, makes the Bucks struggles with Doc, the rise of the Knicks. I think that the East is going to be a complete toss-up, and yet no one's talking about the Boston Celtics, who are having an incredible year, and
quietly under the radar because of all the other crap going on. And
I can't believe I'm going to say this. The difference this year from last year with the Celtics is Kristaps Porzingis. He's having his best career. He's having his best year as a professional.
His player lack thereof, what he was projected to be, or at least what Phil Jackson thought he would be when he got drafted, was not so much him, but the players around him and the coaching he had.
Right. It was horrible. And it was New York at that time was pretty toxic, and it just wasn't a well-managed situation. Mm-hmm. I will say this too, and I'm happy birthday, by the way, this week to Nikola Jokic.
Happy birthday, Joker.
Here's my pick for as of right now. The MVP of the NBA is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That's the MVP of the league right now. He's the best two guard in the NBA. Now, I know that he's listed as a point guard, but are there really point guards anymore?
Yeah.
I mean, Chris Paul is the last one, and I think last time I checked, he was, making snow cones behind the bench.
I believe it.
So, anyway, we'll see. It's gonna be an interesting couple weeks here as the playoffs come in. I think the NBA is going to do everything they can to make sure the Lakers make it in. I think they're going to do everything they possibly can to allow the Warriors to make it in.
There you go.
So it's going to be tight.
Yep. 100% agreed.
And the Knicks need to get healthy.
They get healthy, and I said this the other day too. They get one. Now, not going to say this is going to happen, but if they are able to get 100% healthy and stay healthy, they're going to be very, very hard to beat.
They're going to be hard to beat. They're still one player away. There's still one player away. They're still one player away. But they're much better than they were.
They're they're the best they've been in a very long time.
Yes. So, yes, they are.
So there you go. But they got to get healthy, like you said. So
yeah.
We'll see.
Randall coming back and being able to play the way he played prior to this injury is the key to the Knicks. Jalen Brunson is an incredible story, and he's the MVP of the Knicks and probably a top 5 MVP candidate in the league.
Agreed.
But it was Randall's ability to change his game and play alongside the rest of this team that had the Knicks where they were. And that's what I like about the Knicks is on any given night, they don't need an A game from Brunson or an A game from Randall. Somebody else is going to pick up the pieces. And it's especially obvious now since RJ Barrett's gone and they got OG is because their defense is just so much better. So we shall see.
We shall. All right.
Is that it?
I think so. Anything else?
I hope not.
I don't think so. All right. Well, on that note, we'll wrap up for today. We want to thank everybody for watching. And for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thank you for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.getonwithitpodcast.com. That's getonwithitpodcast.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for the Get On With It podcast. And of course, all of the shows are available on YouTube as well on the Log Room channel. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Twitch every other Wednesday night around 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on our audio host, Spreaker, as well as iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Odyssey, Audible, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, CastBox, Deezer, Podchaser, Raphonic. Pretty much anywhere you can find audio podcasts, you'll find the Get On With It Sports Podcast. And if you haven't done this already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds and you'll never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you in a couple weeks, folks. Take care. Cheers.
See ya, everybody.